We're here with Rob Lennox from Goodreamsagain. He has a new album out called Whirled through Lennox Music. And we caught up with him to tell us a bit about the new songs.
Well, Whirled is, as the name suggests, about the world. The world as it moves through time and mainly the Chinese zodiac. There are 14 tracks, one for each animal sign of the zodiac and a couple of others.
Is it a concept album?
Yeah, you could say that. Sparrow's Fart, which is the first track, is devoted to the sign of the rooster, or birds in general. It's about getting up at stupid o'clock in the morning for no apparent reason. I used a 4-tom drum for the rhythm, which is a shout out to Japanese taiko drumming, which is often done in the morning. The second track, Jamaica, is not so much about the nation, it's more about my old family dog, Jamaica, or Jammy for short.
Oh, hence the sign of the dog.
Exactly. Jammy was crazy. She used to go mental every time the oven door opened in the kitchen. One time in the backyard, she bit the head off a possum. I think she was just a little bit misunderstood, but we loved her. So I made a dark reggae track with a harmonica for her. I have to be careful because apparently Bob Dylan has swallowed a lot of them.
Harmonicas?
Yeah, I hope I can learn from his mistakes.
So, tell me about the third track, I Will.
Well, for a long time my Instagram handle was Rob Lennox Dipping Sauce as a tribute to all the food photos I was posting. My favourite Chinese dish at the time was barbecue pork.
Barbecue pork, okay. For the Year of the Pig?
Right, so I devised my own dipping sauce for that, and for spring rolls and dim sims, it's basically just chopped chili, a bit of soy sauce and sesame oil. So this song has a bit of Chinese violin at the end of it in tribute to that. Also, I'm leaving all my recipe books to any children I may have that I'm unaware of.
So, this brings us to natural playback. Can you tell us a bit about this piece?
So, in a previous band I was in called Squelch, we did a track called Planet Machine, which is a lot like a jazzy noise jam that had lots of keyboard beeping noises in it. So this is a reworking of that. It actually bullied me quite a lot when I was producing it.
So you would liken this to the sign of the ox?
Yeah, so you catch on pretty fast, Grasshopper. I tried to give it a more organic feel, and I included this interview from the 1950s where this housewife was given LSD.
Cetus is the next one. How does this fit in?
Well, originally with the Western Zodiac there was actually 14 signs, with one of the extras being Cetus the whale. So this one is a bit of a ballad complete with whale sounds. It's kind of around the same time as our Gemini sign. Around that time I always seem to think about insects.
So that brings us to The Bugs Have Gone.
Well, in the late 1960s, a criminal called Charles Manson started a hippie cult in the Californian desert called The Family, and they went on to murder the actress Sharon Tate. Anyway, Manson used the Beatles song Helter Skelter as his kind of acid-fueled manifesto about the revolution. He used it to brainwash his followers, so this is an attempt to claim it back for the Beatles, along with lots of other samples from their music, like hidden track on Sgt. Pepper's and stuff.
So, tell me about the ambient fare.
Well, it's kind of like Advance Australia fare, only more ambient.
And it's got some shortwave radio in it.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I used to listen to the shortwave, which was like all those weird noises from around the world, like military Morse code and stuff, so this pays homage to that.
Tell me about Kiska.
Kiska was my old house cat. Again, she was adorable but crazy. I figured cats are kind of like tigers, so this pays respect to that zodiac sign. She'd run around the house, and when she'd go out at night, she'd get into street fights with other cats. So I made this kind of frenetic drum and bass rhythm about her wild antics. We recently got a new used car, and the previous owner had left her voice recordings in the car's phone directory, so I recorded that and put it in for a laugh.
And Rabbit, I'm assuming, is about rabbits.
Yeah, the voice sample is from a Monty Python sketch with the Bruces, and it's kind of like how rabbits were introduced to Australia, and of course the conditions are perfect for them to breed like crazy and become a pest.
Right, so how does vinegar and brown paper fit in?
Well, this actually relates to the dragon sign. I have a friend called Julie who used to organise these bush stuff raves called Dragonflight. So this song takes lines from the nursery rhyme Jack and Jill. We all know about how they climbed up the hill and to get a pail of water, but the second verse describes how Jack mended his crown with vinegar and brown paper. There's also a sample from the Valley of the Gwangi, which is an old movie about giant lizards in the Wild West.
Well, this brings us to Ophiuchus. That's not one of the Chinese signs, though, is it?
No, Ophiuchus was another of the extra Western star signs that happens around Scorpio and Sagittarius. He's the serpent bearer, so this song is about snakes in general and also snakes that I've known.
And your cabs here is to do with horses?
Yeah, hailing a taxi cab is much quicker than taking a horse-drawn carriage these days. Indeed, cars in general have replaced the need for horses. So when I was a teenager, catching a taxi home after a long night, we'd listen to the CV radio and or listen to all the redneck drivers conversing. Some of it was quite amusing, so this track includes some of that. And it's also got melodica, which is like a keyboarded wind instrument.
This brings us to Perpetuity. What can you tell me about this song?
This is about an ex-girlfriend who was a Capricorn, which is our sign for the goat, and the Chinese also have a goat, so this is about her.
And finally, Tripitaka. He was the priest in Monkey Magic. Is that right?
You got it in one. Monkeys and more monkeys.
Well, thanks very much for explaining all that, Rob. Whirled by Goodreamsagain is out now. You can listen and download from bandcamp.com or lennoxmusic.com.au. Thanks again, Rob.
My pleasure. Yeah, rats. I've got some